Hello and welcome back to Living Abroad. Today we're going to talk about a woman who scammed a foreigner for over 1.5 million pesos. We'll read the comments and stick around to the end. I'll share my personal thoughts on this case. A 24-year-old young woman is now facing estafa charges for allegedly defrauding an American national for at least 1.5 million pesos in what authorities described as a classic case of a love scam. Enforcers from the National Bureau of Investigation in Cebu District arrested a certain Jaya Ramos Jualo in an entrapment operation in a coffee shop in Mandaue City, Cebu last April 24th. The complainant, alias George, accused Jualo, a resident of Masin City, Leyte, of duping him in a relationship for financial gain. Apparently, the suspect had already managed to siphon off at least 1.5 million pesos worth of cash from the victim. These do not include other valuables George had bought personally for Jualo, like a laptop and jewelry. Initial investigation showed that Jualo learned about George when her brother, identified only as RJ, tried to connect with the foreigner during a relief effort for typhoon victims in Masin City, Leyte in 2023. RJ then introduced George to his sister, Jaya, through online messaging. The suspect and the victim immediately started exchanging messages that eventually led to a relationship. Lunt's legal counsel lawyer, Athena Salas, said it was Jaya who proposed for the two to get into a relationship, after which the suspect started asking for money. At first, George had no suspicions when Jualo, a call center agent, started asking small amounts of cash to allegedly help her family in Leyte. Quote, they still have not met in person, but when she tried to ask for 300,000 pesos in cash, he started to doubt about the seriousness of the relationship, Salas said. Recently, George received a request from Jualo asking 2.4 million pesos in cash as down payment for a condo unit to relocate her family from Leyte to Cebu. She apparently told the victim that she intends to buy the unit, which cost a total of 14 million pesos. Quote, that's when the victim reached out to us for help, believing that he might have been scammed, Salas added. George then flew to the Philippines and filed a complaint before the NBI CIBDO, which in return launched an investigation and an entrapment operation that led to Jualo's arrest. Jualo, for her part, denied the allegations hurled against her, adding that she had been honest to George that the funds would go to her family's needs. Quote, my brother is unemployed. My father is a PWD, person with disability. I only use the money to sustain our needs, and if there was some extra, we would spend it for leisure, Jualo said. Jualo and George finally met in person shortly after NBI CIBDO arrests the suspect, who had asked for forgiveness from the victim. George, however, is intent to pursue the case against her. Talk about a classic love scam scenario. There's a lot to get into, but first let's take a look at some comments. Actually, most Filipinos were basically ashamed of her, saying, why would you do this? You make the rest of us Filipino people also look bad. You know, for the past few years, I've seen a really big rise in cases like this online when I do interviews. Just, being aware of these kind of stories from expats and foreigners in the Philippines. And many people attribute this to COVID. A lot of, obviously during COVID, people had a lot of time online. They started reaching outside their immediate circles for, let's say, dating, and they start connecting with people. And then also from Western world, a lot of men want to come to the Philippines, other Asian countries. They want to get away from the rat race, from the whole, dating culture in the West. But then sometimes we forget to just take basic precautions when we are actually talking to people online. And let's read one more comment here. Someone said, if some guy let it go on for that long to reach 1.5 million, then he deserves to be taken advantage of, essentially. Now, I don't know about being deserved to be taken advantage of, but I do agree that why would you let it go on so long? Firstly, buying jewelry and a laptop and sending all kinds of money to somebody you never met is never a good idea. Especially, I guess this case was a little bit different since he met her through a friend or the brother of the girl that he met in person in 2023. Regardless, you never met the person. You don't know their intentions. You don't know if you have chemistry. If you want to give money just for charity, let's say, or never expect to get it back, that's your choice. If you want to pay for some kind of subscription to be chatting with somebody, think of it that way, as entertainment, essentially. If you lose some money, let's say $50 or something, that's up to you. But I don't think it makes sense to send money to somebody you never met. I get it. I understand. I'm a man myself. It's exciting to be talking to somebody new across the world, maybe. But to be realistic, we have to realize that we don't really know what the situation is. So, yeah, those were some of the details about this case. Just from somebody like myself that's been in the Philippines for the past 6 years, talking to hundreds, if not probably over 1,000 expats by now on all the interviews you guys see on the streets. A lot of these cases don't end really well when people send money. If you want to do something nice for your loved one or someone you care about, buddy, save up that money, get on a plane, and bring your ass over to the Philippines and start dating for real. Get to know that person. And at that point, if you want to help her, her family, maybe her financial situation, that's up to you. But I don't think it's wise to be talking to somebody for nearly 3 years and just sending money because you don't really know what the intentions are. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about this because I know I can't be the only person thinking this way. I'm sure there's a lot of men that say, oh, why would you send money online? But it happens. It happens often enough that like we have to really be aware of this kind of situation. And this is why I'm sharing this kind of stories, right? Because you hear about it often enough, but it's never a situation where the guy actually flies over to the Philippines and properly files a complaint against the individual. One thing I do want to say, if what she's saying is true also, the fact that she basically said, listen, send me some money because of this and that, and he did, and she legit like used it, let's say for her dad, a little apartment, and like she said, spent a little extra on leisure. I mean, is that really a scam? If she directly told you, give me money, and you did, like where's the scam in that? The fact that she didn't love him, yeah, I get it, that sucks, it hurts your feelings, but I don't know by law. So when the details come out, I'm sure, I feel like this guy had a proper case, obviously. He has enough information, enough like evidence against her to go through this whole thing. I don't condone any of this, of course. My point is like, we as men also have a little bit of control of how we behave and how we act. We can't be that thirsty. You know what I mean? So let's not like, once again, I'm a dude myself. I get excited as well when women are around, but like, I've never once sent somebody online I've never met. But then again, I don't blame people like that because they're not here. Maybe they got jobs. Maybe they're not quite retired yet. Maybe they haven't got a chance to come to the Philippines and they want to maintain that level of like relationship to show the girl they love her or maybe prove their seriousness of the relationship. But don't forget, these women out here are very cunning anywhere in the world. I feel like the way the world is moving, everything is becoming much, much more about what can you do for me instead of like, a partnership. Naturally, you want to build that like in a physical environment of each other, but sometimes it's difficult when you cross international lines. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think of this situation? Oh, one more thing. If you guys want to start talking to women in the Philippines, I highly recommend Peanut Heart. It's the only dating site I trust in the Philippines because for me, they do a lot of background stuff to try to actually minimize stuff exactly like this scamming, and they have a whole team that's dedicated full-time to ensuring that you don't get scammed, essentially. And that's it for this video. Share your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of it. Do you think that she did nothing wrong? I mean, we don't have all the story. Of course, there's two sides to every story. So I just feel like the way this whole situation went down, it is a classic love scam. The fact that he lawyered up, came and filed a complaint, he must have something against her. And also share your stories. Let me know, have you talked to anybody online where they tried to like maybe siphon a little bit of money out of you? I'd love to hear your stories because this is good for all of us that are dating, for all of us that want to get into like, international, is that a thing? International relationships. We got to know what to watch out for. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm going to do more deep dives about situations in the Philippines, mainly on living abroad, just to share my thoughts and experiences. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.